welcome back to another episode of Vlogmas. As you've seen by the title of this video, we are going to be talking about money management. Or I just want to let y'all know, I am not a professional, like, at all. This video may be like a tad bit advanced for those who don't have jobs, or maybe you get an allowance, or if you just have any type of limited monthly income, but pretty sure that you should be able to follow along just fine. First thing I do when it comes to money management is budget. There are two different type of ways that I budget my money, and that is the old-fashioned way and the app called Numbers. The old-fashioned way to me is just writing every single thing down. Like, when I say everything, I mean everything. And I do the math problems, I get everything together. Like, yeah. I kind of give myself an estimate of how much I'm gonna get paid after tax, which kind of comes in handy because then I'm usually over my budget when I do that. Honestly, this method, or just budgeting in general, will be a lot easier for you if you make salary, or you just know how much you're going to get every single week. You have a set amount of hours, or you always get the same amount every week. It doesn't change. But for us who really don't know what our next check is going to be, we just know the range, that 100 of what it's going to be in. I get paid bi-weekly, so if you get paid weekly, you know, you can follow along, but it's just going to be like a little bit different for you. But let's just say I get paid about $500 every 2 weeks. That sounds crazy out loud. It happens. A lot of people do get paid $500 a week, and y'all, if you're in that predicament, get out. All right, so let's say I get paid about $500 every 2 weeks, or just around that range, like $550, $500, or I might know exactly how many hours I worked that week, like maybe like 65, and that range comes up to be about $580, $590. You really want to get closest to the nearest tenth as possible, because that just makes a difference with everything. If you are working 65 hours every 2 weeks and your check is $580, run. However, let's say I take that $500 or that $590. For the remainder of those 2 weeks, I'm gonna subtract the bills that I get. Let's say I have a bi-weekly subscription of $50, and I have about 2 of those subscriptions, and maybe one that's $20. I have my $500 check, a $50 subscription that comes out Sunday, $20 subscription, and then like a $50 subscription that comes out the day before my next check. Well, that's already like $120 that I know I need to save up. So that $120 is going to go into my savings automatically, and now I'm left with like $380, right? From that $380, I'm going to take $100. I'm going to keep that in my checkings account. Everything else, so the rest of that $220, will go straight to the savings. Now, I know that's like crazy. Mainly, I do this when I am specifically saving for something. If I'm not really saving for nothing, I'm just going to keep it in my account and spend it how I see fit. But if I'm working towards a goal, I'm going to just give myself a set amount of budget, and that's going to be me restraining from things like eating out or DoorDash, Ubers. Like, that's my budget with nothing. That's my budget to just survive. If I'm not saving, I kind of still do that. I'll just take out like stuff for hair appointments and nails, and then maybe about 5 Uber trips. I kind of ramble a little bit, but back on track. When it comes to giving myself that $100, I'll keep doing that. I'll keep putting like $300+ into my savings account until I get the amount that I was saving for. So let's say I'm saving to pay for something that's $1,000. I'm gonna keep doing that for like 2 to 3 checks until I have $1,000 in my account. I've now budgeted 6 weeks in advance because I've planned out my next 3 checks. Another way that I budget is using this app called Numbers. Numbers comes with iPhone, so if you have an Android, I'm sorry. I really don't know if Androids can get this app, but I'm sure y'all could have something like it. I'm gonna really research that for you and find something similar and put it in the description below. But I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it for you. Y'all know that TikTok?
I'm coming back for you, baby. I'm coming back for you.
I don't even know if that's a TikTok. I've seen that as a reel. Back to Numbers. Now, I don't use Numbers often. I mainly do the old-fashioned way all the time. Like, I just plan out the next 3 checks every other month for no reason. But if I am like literally specifically saving for something, or just budgeting for something, it's something I use depending on the situation for what I'm saving for. The only difference is I use this if I'm saving for more than 5 items. With the app, basically, I can break down exactly what I'm saving for, and it's gonna tell me how much I'll have left over for that set item, or it'll tell me how much I've overspent for that item. It doesn't say it to the very last penny, which is what I don't like, because like when I'm saving for something, I save to the last penny, the last quarter, the last everything. But it just saves to the nearest dollar, which is okay too. And since it is the holiday season, what better way to show an example of this than with a Christmas list? It doesn't usually look like this. This is the first time like me using it on the computer. Well, mainly the only thing I focus on with this app is this chart right here. And this is one out of the 2 charts that I usually use, but this was good for me when it came to budgeting my Christmas list. Let's say that you gave yourself a budget of $500. You have a set budget for everyone that you're spending on. So for my coworkers, I decided I was going to spend $100. That's like 5 for each coworker or something like that. I don't know. We were going to do Secret Santa, but since we did Secret Santa, I only had to pay for 1 coworker. So I only have to spend $30 on 1 coworker and not all of them. I gave my parents a budget of $100. Everyone basically has a budget of $100. So I'm planning on not spending over $100 for my friends. I'm not spending over $100 for my cousins, my siblings, my parents, my coworkers, nobody. My budget is $500. Get here, for my coworkers, I actually spent $30, like I was saying. I didn't have to spend the whole $100, so that left me with $70 over. Since I saved $70, I kind of have breathing room to splurge on someone else. And since I have 2 parents, I might as well spend $100 on each parent and not split it between the 2. So I decided to go ahead and spend $200, and now I'm over that $100 budget. But that's okay because I managed to save a little over half for my friends, my siblings, and my cousins. I didn't spend the whole $100, which was the main goal, and that's okay. So even though I went over my budget with something else, I still managed to save $90. I only spent $410 of my $500. So like that's just like a little quick breakdown of how I use the app. That's just one of them. But yeah, the best way to save is really to just cut out stuff that you don't really need. Well, you really just gotta look at your biggest expenses. You can go a couple months without getting your nails done. You're probably already saving about $200 right there. So it's just stuff like that. You gotta look at what's your biggest expenses, what are your needs instead of your wants. I don't really know too much about it, but I know that a lot of people will ask me these type of questions, but that's just what I do. I just do these things. Now, to stop spending that much really kind of falls in with mindset. You have to remember what you're saving for and why. A really important thing with that is for rainy days. You don't ever want to get your bank account below like $100 before your paycheck comes up. What if you absolutely need to spend it? What is your backup plan for when you accidentally go over and you're in the negative? Like, what is your backup plan? Or what if you forget you had a subscription coming out? That's why it's really important to figure out your subscriptions and your automatic payments. It's important to do those first, because that's what you absolutely have to save for. If all you have in your savings is enough for that payment, you need to discipline yourself and not spend that $10.50 on that Chick-fil-A order. And I understand, you know, some of you are really young, so it's kind of hard to not spend it because you see it, you want it. But it's just mainly about, do you want money tomorrow? Do you want money next week? Like, do you really want to spend it all today? Or do you want to save it for something coming up even more? Like, let's say you see a jacket that you've really been wanting that's $100. All you have is $130 in your bank account. God forbid, or something, you break your phone, someone steals your phone, and you can't get a phone until next week. You're without a phone for a whole week. Or you don't even have enough, your paycheck won't cover your phone for next week because you didn't save in advance. It's just things like that. Ultimately, if you keep doing these steps, the main focus is that one day, just one day, you have financial freedom. Because if your goal is to get wealthy in life, if your goal is to be wealthy in life, you have to start somewhere. You can't just kind of get rich and then try to save. You have to learn how to do it now so that when your bank account starts to increase, you kind of know what you want to do with that money. But if you can't even handle having $500 now, how are you going to handle having $5 million? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And also that little list I showed you with buying Christmas gifts is the same thing that you should be doing for like bills and subscriptions and clothes. You know, like you have to factor in these real world scenarios to make sure that it's okay. If you're already like getting allowances, and let's say your allowance is only like $20, I don't know how much kids get for allowance. I've never had allowance in my life. Okay, children, let's say you get allowance $50 a week, right? The second you get that $50, do not, and I mean do not, spend something that's worth $50. If you do that, you are literally going to be broke. And if you keep doing this your whole entire life, you will be broke once you start getting those jobs and you get reoccurring paychecks, because you're used to spending your money as soon as you get it. But as you get older and you start to have bills and things that come out automatically, spending your money as soon as you get it will leave you bankrupt. So now, I know you're like, "Lay, that won't happen to me. I don't have to pay bills right now." That's fine. But if you don't incorporate these steps now, or the little bit of tricks and tips I taught you now, that's how your life will look like in the future, because you didn't do it now. You don't know how to save in the future because you didn't save in the past. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come for your throats, but like, save your money. Get it together now. Learn how to budget and save now so that in the future you won't be homeless. I'm sorry if I kind of like just attacked y'all the whole video. I really do want y'all to learn how to budget and want y'all to learn how to save so that y'all can be wealthy and be millionaires, you know? You may be praying for God to give you a lump sum, but what are you going to do once you get it? As long as you have the mentality, honestly, you could slip up every now and again and be fine, because you have the mentality to know that you can get back on track. Thank you for being with me for another episode of Vlogmas yet again. Y'all, it is already the middle of the week. I don't know how I'm feeling about that. Let me know how much you like this video. If you need me to go more in depth, please tell me, because I did write a script, but I feel like I was a little all over the place. So please tell me if I need to go more in depth, or just let me know. Just let me know in the comments below how you liked the video, what you didn't like, and we'll move on from here. So I will see you in the next video. Peace, y'all. This was the fit, by the way. Nothing fancy, just gray. Just gray. I put that up the other day. How you like it? Okay. All right. You said let me go to sleep? All right, I got you. You're right. Good night, y'all.